What's up, guys? Quick recap of yesterday's action. As you can see, we had quite the roller coaster. Look to it. You got up, down, up, down, up, down. I got one good long entry out of it right over here that we'll get into here in a bit. Going into the day, we had a couple supply zones on top. We have a 90-minute zone from Thursday at 44.08, and then above that, we have a 45-minute zone kind of in between it at 44.21. That goes to 44.30. We did create a 3-hour supply zone here. Let me see if I can draw that out real quick. That already had that. All right, so I'll draw that here in a bit. But we do have a 3-hour supply zone here. So those are the 2-3 supply zones I'm looking for. On the demand side, we have a 90-minute zone at 43.55 and a 4-hour zone inside of it at 43.45 that goes to 43.20. So a couple similar zones, a couple supply zones stacked inside of each other, a couple demand zones stacked below each other, and we stayed in between that zone, as you can see. Now let me draw that 3-hour supply zone. Let's see. All right, this is it right here. And it was created right after the Sunday open at about 5 o'clock Central Time. Sold off right after we opened, and haven't tested it yet. I'm not even going to draw red on it because, as you can see, it didn't even hold on that first minute. We ripped right through it. So that's where it was, but didn't hold, so that's gone. All right, so overnight highs at 43.80, overnight lows at 43.60. And let's go ahead and get into it. After the first 15 minutes, we created a 15-minute demand zone. We had the chance to create 30-minute, 45-minute, hour, 90 minutes. That's when all of those candles close at 9 p.m. Central Time, 30 minutes after the open. We couldn't sustain the highs after that first, 5-10 minute rip, though. We sold off, and so by 9 o'clock, we were already down here towards the entry price, and left a higher wick, quite the upper wick on those candles. So I went ahead and decided that wasn't it doesn't fit your criteria for a demand zone, right? So I didn't put a demand zone there. We did have a 15-minute demand zone that closed 15 minutes after. So that was the only zone that was created off of that morning rip. And that's where I got my play. We had one touch into it. Buying obviously present, right? Made new lows, recovered this little small consolidation right here. Good sign for buyers. On the 5-minute chart, you can see clear volume coming in as it touched this demand zone. Low 5-minute selling after, and at that point, this candle closed, I believe it was right here. On the 1-minute chart, didn't look that great. I mean, we are making a higher low, but right away, this 1-minute buying wasn't too strong, but it still got bought up. All right, so that tells me that buyers are going to buy up this dip. It looks weak, but they're going to buy it up regardless. They see it's a higher low, they see it's demand zone here, so it looks good. So I went long around 43.85 as I saw this buying coming in with eyes to take profits right around 4,400. Or ideally, I think, my goal was this supply zone at 44.08. But since we had already rejected here once, since 4,400 is a psychological level, and those are the main reasons. But as you can see, we did have some problems here as we came back up. We consolidated a little bit over 43.90. I took a little bit of partials here, and then on the next leg, took some partials as we broke 4,400. Came back down, rejected, and then started making a double top. Made some lower highs on the 1-minute chart. Buying started to disappear a little bit, and that's where I took the rest of my profits. So I had about a 10, 12-point move average there. We didn't get up to that 44.08, 44.10 supply zone, as you can see. I think NASDAQ was in a supply zone. The underlying equities of the S&P 500 weren't doing too well. They weren't near their highs like ES was. So that was a sign of weakness, and because of that, we rejected. All right, on the rejection back down, we fell below overnight highs, fell right through this 15-minute demand zone, didn't hold this time. So this is gone. And I'm just going to zoom out here. All right, and for the rest of the day, just dropped, ripped, dropped. and just balance in between the 4360s, 4400, right above 4400 zone. So we didn't have a demand zone down here. There wasn't, we're still above technically 4355, which is what the lows were. Yeah, it's not an overnight low, but I take that back. Actually, the overnight lows, yeah, are 4361. Scratch that. Yes, I mean we're still above overnight lows, right? So it's hard to be too bearish on it. And because of that, and because of other factors as well, we did reverse, but there was no demand zone, so no entry for us. And it's the same thing over here. We didn't really create. We created a small 15-minute supply zone that we ripped right through. So other than that, there isn't supply from yesterday or anything like that. So no reason to short here. It did have weakness, and it tumbled back down to 4360s. So just a couple big moves that because there's no demand, because there's no supply, we did not have a good entry on. We did create a good 90 minutes and hour demand zone here that went from about 4380 to 4365, but it fell. I mean, look how much selling pressure this is. No signs of buying really. It fell all the way straight through and didn't have any signs of buying and signs of selling disappearing until we got right to the bottom of the zone. At that point, like I would say, it invalidates the demand zone for me. It was also about 10-15 minutes towards the end of the day. So it's less predictable. I was already out. We did get a nice, 30-point move off of that, but really no good reason. I mean, you can't. That's not a play that is replicable, and we can, play that every day. There's no demand zone there that has held. So no reason to go long, and of course no reason to go short because you're chasing it at that point. But it did reverse from there, and we ended the day near the highs. We did create a good 30-minute demand zone here. That we are trying to bounce in around 5 or 6 a.m. And looks like so far we got a nice 10-15 point move out of it. But if this is here before the open today, then that could provide a good long entry. On the supply side, you still have this 4409 on the supply side for today. That could provide some short entries. But yesterday, only good entry was this long side off the intraday 15-minute demand zone, and then everything else, no demand, no supply, so we're not touching it. All right, we'll see what the overnight does. I showed you a little glimpse. Got a couple hours to the open here. We'll get a recap here at the end of the day, and I'll see you guys then.